very good morning to all of you, and extremely warm welcome to all the distinguished guests and industry delegates and members of the jewelry industry and the watches sector here at JewelX, which is going to be a global business exchange on the jewelry and watches retail over this day-long conference that we will be having. So it's my honor to be standing over here and extending a warm welcome to the industry members. Today we're living in extremely interesting times when it comes to the jewelry industry because that we are surrounded partly by, I would say, disruption, but a large part of it is actually disguised as opportunity, which we all need to maximize. And that is what we here at Retailer Media and at Franchise India Group have always been doing for the last 1 decade, where we have been helping the industry to navigate their retail expansion, their growth plans, and also to get into a format of building brands which are consumer loved and omni-channel. So when I say that the industry is at an inflection point, I feel this is there is, on one side, there are legacy jewelers who are trying to work their way around how they want to redesign themselves, restructure their businesses to make it more contemporary. And on the other hand, we have got D2C brands who are completely rewriting the rules of building brands in small period of time with their trust, design, and the price points that they are selling at. However, they also need to learn and take a chapter of the book from the legacy industry as to how to expand and distribute their businesses. And then the third side, we have the consumers themselves, who are more modern and more Gen Z in their thinking, and while they respect the culture that jewelry industry has, but nevertheless they are also looking at the jewelry for them being more relevant, more wearability, more affordability, and experience that they want to see coming from the jewelry house of brands. So, over the next few hours, what we're going to do here at Retailer Media and at Franchise India is that we are going to take you through a journey of, I would say, triple G, which is where we're going to help you navigate what is going to be the growth for the jewelry industry in the times to come, how they can gravitate themselves as jewelers, and also, how do we globalize our businesses as we go forward. So my first part and the most important part that we were going to address over here during the next few hours is the independent jewelers, which are going to be the backbone and have always been the backbone of the jewelry industry in the country. Much of our discussion is going to be focused on what kind of strategies are today required to scale profitably in what I feel is a highly fragmented but a highly profitable and a scalable opportunity that is arising today. I think a large part of it will really come from the shift or the transition that independent jewelers will make from being family-led businesses to professionally managed operations, and their need to realize that either as an independent jeweler they need to go out and build their own brands, or if that is not the more viable option, then they need to be partnering or being in collaboration with other brands in order to have a sustainable business. So that is going to be a very big agenda of discussion over here today. The second G would really stand for, and which is what I say, the G of gravitation or transition that independent jewelers will make. The second G is, according to me, referring to the regional jewelry brands, who will today need to focus on business growth and brand building with the corporatization of their businesses in mind. As they plan to increase the scale of their business, they need to be mindful of the unit economics, the cluster expansion that they want to bring to the business, and operational efficiency at the same time, while they move from a single store or 2 store to a larger or a double-digit store expansion, multi-location scalability, without losing either their craft strength, which is their design, or the customer intimacy, which they have built over a period of years. So I feel that differentiation here will come through a lot of strategies which are not too capex heavy, but they are more contemporary, more innovative, which could be to have designer collaborations, which will give them a great excitement and limited edition inventory to build up on. There could also be brand licensing opportunities to be explored. In fact, one of the brand licensing opportunities that I see is, you'll see it in the hall adjacent to you, where Jewellery has partnered with Marie Claire Paris, which is a media IP, and they're doing a jewelry line with them. So I feel that in India, the time has just started where a lot of brand licensing collaborations will start to see face. A lot of IP-driven collections, which also make a lot of sense when it comes to achieving differentiation. And the third G for me is globalization, which is going to come from big retailers who today need to not just think of themselves as national brands, but as global brands. First of all, of course, they need to go to markets where there is a huge Indian diaspora, which is coming from in markets like Canada, UK, Singapore, Dubai, and such places where, there is a big Indian affinity. But I think the minute these retailers or the big retailers are going to break this mindset of only serving the Indian consumers is really when they will build global brands. Secondly, I also feel that a lot of big retailers should need to now look at opportunities which are to do with international collaborations, wherein they partner with large international design houses, jewelry houses, and bring them to India, because I feel that the Indian consumer is now ready for aspirational global designs, global jewelry, and we have not seen that enough in India still. So I think partnering with global designers, bringing global luxury brands to India is a large opportunity to meet the needs of HNIs in India going forward. Finally, I think, we all know this, but it's something that needs to be iterated over and over for all of us, that there is in India, that is about 3 I's for jewelry industry that will never change, but it will need to, of course, therefore our businesses would need to be restructured around that. So first is that jewelry is an investment and will continue to be so. In India, jewelry is not just an ornament. It is really an asset that Indian women own, and that value of the asset of Indian jewelry will always continue to remain strong. Secondly, while it is an investment, it is also an indulgence. A lot of Indian women and we as Indians like to flaunt our jewelry at weddings or at social occasions, and that aspect cannot be taken away. Therefore, designs fundamentally have to be very strong in jewelry. And thirdly, the inheritance value of the jewelry, it is really like property. So every generation receives it not as a customer, but as a custodian. And as a custodian, they will add more value to it, add more layers to it, and pass it on to the next generations in the family. So I think these 3 I's will always be the strongest aspect for every jewelry retailer out here who needs to realize that in India, jewelry comes from a cultural legacy more than as a customer value. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank everybody who is going to be joining us here today, all our distinguished speakers who are going to tell us a lot about what I have just mentioned, and also, all the delegates and all the industry vendors who are present over here to help the industry in their growth, whether it comes from technology or whether it comes from retail expansion. So I hope you all have a great day, and please feel free to share, be more vocal about what you learned, what you've understood today. Share it on LinkedIn. Please do tag us so that we can also help you to put your word outside and make sure that your voice is heard in the industry in a much bigger way. And I welcome you once again, and I hope you all have a great day. Thank you very much for joining us.